Well guys, here in Missouri, spring has finally sprung. The last couple weekends we have been morel mushroom hunting. The turkeys here are gobbling, season's coming up on it. And now the spoonbill are making their run here on the local lakes here in the state. This lakes and reservoirs I mainly focus on here are Truman Lake and Lake of the Ozarks. Truman Lake is a man-made lake, it's dammed up, and then that flows down to the Lake of the Ozarks. So they're kind of the same waters, but separated by a dam. And this year, actually, the world record paddlefish was snagged on the Lake of the Ozarks. It weighed 164 pounds and 13 ounces. So these things get massive. Now, the paddlefish, they say, statistically has been around for 125 million years. And they say that they existed whenever the dinosaurs existed. So, you know, we go out, my buddy, he always makes a joke and says we're snagging dinosaurs. So I think that's kind of a cool statistic, actually. But these paddlefish, they don't eat live. They don't eat live bait. So you can't catch them like your regular fish out there. What paddlefish eat are a thing called plankton. Plankton are microscopic plants and animals. So what they do is they have great big mouths and these great big paddles on their nose. And what they do is they go and they just open their mouths up and then they bring in that plankton and they filter it through their gills or however they eat it, and they filter it through, and that's what they eat. So that being said, you can't catch a paddlefish, you have to snag a paddlefish. So today, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk to you about the gear we're using and kind of about how we go about it. I remember when I first started getting started on this, I was trying to find, information on, what size rod, what size pole, what size reel, what size line, what size hooks, Dipsy Divers, you name it. So today, I'm going to talk to you about what gear we use. And people like to use anywhere from a 7 foot, or me preferably, I like to use anywhere from a 7 foot to a 7'6" rod. Today I'm using the Cat Max, and it is 7 foot 6 inches long, and it is a heavy action rod. Some people like to use a medium heavy. I have one that's a medium heavy, or you can use a heavy. The reel that I'm using today is the Okuma Magda Pro, and it is the model MA45DX. It comes with the line counter, which I totally recommend. And the line that I'm using today is an 80-pound test line that is made by DMOA, and it is called J-Braid X8. So it is a braided 80-pound test. Some people use up to 100, but I use an 80. The Dipsy Divers that we're using today are a size 1 Dipsy Diver. Now, when you get these Dipsy Divers out, there's going to be 2 screws. There's going to be one up front and one on the back. You want to come to the one on the back here and tighten that one down. This here, if not, it'll pop out. And the more this little part here, there's a attachment on the back and there's attachment in the middle. The one we're going to be attaching to is the one here in the middle. And this here has a little rod that comes up. You don't want that rod to pop out of there. So what we're going to do is we're not going to tighten it down real tight because we don't want to strip it or break it, but we just want to tighten that down just a little bit. They're always just a little bit loose, and they're designed to come out of there for different trolling methods, but for our method, we do not want that to come out. So the way we're going to do this is you're going to come to the end of your line, and you're going to grab, leave a tail on it about 12 inches long. You're going to double it over and just make a square knot in there. Now what we're trying to do is we're trying to make a circle at the very end of this line, right down here. Now, we want that to be big enough to fit through our Dipsy Diver. So what we're going to do is we're going to double up that line at the very end, and we are going to feed it through that hole. We're going to bring it around our Dipsy Diver like so, and that's why that hole has to be big enough. And then boom, our Dipsy Diver's attached. Easy as that. We're going to come down that line about 1.5 feet, 2 feet at the most. We're using a 12-aught hook today. These are great big hooks. these treble hooks. These treble hooks here, like I say, they are designed to snag that paddlefish. We are not catching them, we are snagging them. On these hooks, there is a welded inside. One of these hooks that is welded onto the main hook over here. That is one continuous hook that comes around. We are looking to go to one of the non-welded hooks, but first we put it through just like we did our Dipsy Diver. We're gonna come all the way around that hook like so and cinch it down on top just like we did that Dipsy Diver. Now we have it free flowing like that. It's loose. Now we want to attach that to our main line to make it straight in line. We're going to come to that non-welded piece. We're going to make a little half hitch in our line. We're going to come over top of that hook and we're going to cinch it up as high as what we can onto there, in between those hooks. We're going to do the same thing the second time and then the same thing the third time. Now we have that hook in line. Dipsy Diver on the bottom, hook in line. We're going to come back down now about another 1.5 feet, 2 feet, and we're going to do the same thing. Double that line over, grab our second hook. We're going to come through the eye of that hook. We're going to go all the way over the top and round that hook. Find that non-welded hook, half hitch, cinch it down once, half hitch, cinch it down twice, and the third time. State of Missouri, we are allowed 3 hooks in total. You can use less, but you can't use more. So my thinking is, the more hooks I have out there, the better off we are. So we're gonna do the same thing, about 1.5 feet, 2 foot. Double it over, put it through the eye. Come around that hook. Non-welded. Hook one more time. Half hitch. 1, 2, 3. So now we have our setup. Now these things can get very tangled, I'm not gonna lie. So trying to organize it and not snagging into everything is always the key. But normally my setups, they're always about 7.5 foot long. If I reel this hook all the way to the end, my Dipsy Diver normally hits me about right at the very end of where the hook to Dipsy Diver is. That always makes it easy at the very end of the day. You just wrap it up and your setup's pretty contained. So whenever you're ready to rock and roll the next time, you're going to just unwind it. You're gonna put this down into the water and you're ready to rock and roll. But the way we do it is the line counter right here is very important in this Dipsy Diver. Rule of thumb is for every foot of water in, you're gonna take that times 3, and that's how much line you're gonna let out. You're in 20 foot of water, multiply that times 3, you're gonna let out 60 foot of line on this line counter. 30 foot of water, 90 foot of line on your line counter. Now, that being said, you can kind of play with that with your line counter. All line counters are gonna be different. So the way we do it is, let's say we're in 20 foot of water, we'll let out that 60 foot of line and you will feel that Dipsy Diver hit. We're trolling about 5 miles per hour, give or take. We're trolling about 4.5, 5. There is some resistance whenever that Dipsy Diver is in the bottom of the, in the lake, and it's grabbing that water and doing its thing. But I'll take it down though, like I was saying, and I'll hit that, 60 foot. And if it's hitting the bottom, then I know, boom, at 20 foot, we're right on the number. If I have to let out about 65, then I know that it's off just a little bit. But these Spoonbill, they'll ride the bottom, mid-range. I mean, they'll be anywhere down there, but normally they're on towards the bottom of the lake. So that being said, sometimes they are suspended up, but I'll hit the bottom and then I'll crank it up about 10 feet or so, 5-10 feet, so that way if we get into a shallower area, we don't get snagged up. But I hope this helps you out today, guys. If you guys have any questions, you know, leave a comment below and I'll get it answered for you. And like I said, all of the gear we're using, they're all going to be linked down in the description below. So good luck out there, and hope you guys snag some big ones. Let's try to get that new world record out there, guys.